starting off in an empty field. No one's out there weeks before this festival. And it slowly builds until the point where you've got now thousands of people who are occupying and using your design in ways that you had imagined, but also in ways that you hadn't imagined.
The question was always brought up, hey, do we need another stage at Pickathon?
Zale came to Clive Knights and myself.
It's going to be a musical alternate reality.
How can we make this something really dramatic, really special?
I think making something for a festival is always liberating for architects.
The understanding was they were going to take a design build class, take this idea to them.
We started to think about how we do this in a way that would really take no resources, minimal resources, or at least would borrow something and then give it back again, so we didn't use much up in the process, which of course is part of the philosophy of Pickathon as a whole.
We sort of, in a roundabout way, landed on the lowly palette. Its life is to travel around the world, being dropped off at places, doing a kind of work. So that spoke to us.
It kind of fit into our sustainability idea of Pickathon.
People move from their everyday lives, come to this special place that is kind of activated in a unique way for 3 days, and then they all go back to their lives. So we hit upon this kind of notion of diversion, being diverted from everydayness.
Dark-eyed, dusty kings, clay pots and silver rings, worked until you couldn't see, a hard way to go.
A couple weeks went by, and the second design review was scheduled.
Our students are always aiming for this moment. They've been working for months on a project to stand up and describe their vision.
Wow, ambitious. I was excited about it.
I loved the tree line and how they had kind of built a wall going up the hill and scaled a wall down below it. All that was awesome. And I was looking for reactions from everyone else. And that's when I realized, what are those poles?
So when I saw these things, I realized that maybe the students didn't understand the nature of this project, that it was a temporary project, a leave no trace project.
We were talking about enormous walls of pallets.
So one thought was, well, what if we go to, the power company?
And we started asking, hey, can you donate us some telephone poles?
You go to the power company and say, hey, can we get some telephone poles? And hey, by the way, you think maybe you could sink them in the ground for us for free?
We emerged from the meeting and I remember thinking, I don't think we're gonna be able to pull this off.
I honestly felt like we were dead in the water. And I said, we gotta think of a plan B.
The timeline is too tight, the budget is too tight, there's too many unanswered questions.
So Ronnie Boykart, our operations manager, had a good friend, Jared Lewis, who was a structural engineer.
Ronnie said, hey, I've got a project that I really need some help with. It's really challenging. I don't think we can do it.
We had a meeting with Clive and Travis, Jared.
And they said, well, this is what we want to do, out of pallets. And I said, oh, okay.
And I remember Jared saying, oh yeah, sure, I think we can do this. Cables and around and through our structure.
That was the turning point for the whole Treeline stage coming together.
And right then, I think we realized that this was going to be able to push forward. Have a remarkable moment.
Run away.
So you arrive there with the students. There's no power. There's your hands and nature. In 2.5 weeks' time, there's going to be thousands of people and this structure built up. So we started leveling, terracing pallet-sized spaces in the ground to hold each row of pallets. And we're talking about needing to dig in a pallet every 3 feet, sometimes pretty deeply. It was a long process. It was carefully done because we didn't want to dig any more than necessary. It was slow.
The last week of the build, I could really see it. I knew it was going to be awesome.
What can't be anticipated is almost, in some senses, kind of more fascinating than what is anticipated, I think. That might be the definition of good architecture.
Turn on the radio, play my favorite sound. We know we got a ways to go, we start to sing along. Sha-la-la-la, we go for miles and miles, it takes me far away. We talk, but we never run out of things to say.
Near the very end of the process, Sherry coming out and saying that she wished this could remain.
It seemed a shame to take down all those pallets and all that great work. It came out so well. I was really impressed with the architecture.
Which was really all you could hope for.
We had to take it down, unfortunately. The pallets were on vacation, which is the greatest thing ever.
Concept of diversion architecture is something that we are going to just keep on doing.
The beauty is how that structure then informs their experience, and they take that away with them and will never go away. Even though the thing is gone, there's not a scar even left on the landscape. It's in their imaginations and their memories forever. Well, until they stop remembering. Made out of about 520 pallets.
6,000 screws.
40 feet across on the back wall, 60 feet long on the major venue side. Had 200-foot long snaking section of pallets.
The highest point of the structure is about 18 feet off of the ground.
I think about 250 Simpson metal ties.
Had a cable every 12 feet.
Maybe 20 or so earth anchors.
A little over a ton in each cable.
300 to 500 people. It could be 1,000 people if they stood up on the hill.
Over 100 pieces of bent rebar that we drove into the ground.
One of our 7 venues on site.
Fabricated by about 22 people.
And a bazillion man hours of sweat.
Some 2x4s chopped up for props as wedging material.
And that's kind of what it ended up being.